Have you ever wished you could create a professional-looking coloring book without wrestling with AI prompts or spending hours drawing your own illustrations? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how to design the interior of a KDP-ready coloring book using only Canva and a powerful resource called the Publisher's Vault. Hello, home bosses. My name is Nuria Corby from thehomeboss.com. Welcome to my channel, which is all about helping you to create an income online from self-publishing. And in my last video, I asked you if you wanted me to create a video showing you how to create a coloring book using the Publisher Vault. And today's the day. I'm going to show you exactly how I create this book, from creating the interior, and then in my next video I'll show you how to do the cover, but I'll also show you how to do a little bit of research as well. So everything will be revealed in this video, how to create a coloring book. And you can use Canva for this. You can use the free version of Canva, but you could also use PowerPoint or any other design software that you like to use to create your books. I just find Canva really easy. I used to use PowerPoint, but Canva just offers a lot more, I think. And it just depends on what you're used to. So whichever tool you prefer to use, you can use that. And you can also use other images from elsewhere if you want to buy images from Creative Fabrica, or you want to create your own images, or you want to ask an illustrator to create the images for you. That's also a possibility. But in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the Publisher Vault, because I know that a lot of you following me have signed up for the membership. And it's a really powerful resource, and I'm going to show you how to use it in the best way. So by the end of this tutorial, you'll know how to set up your pages, select and combine hand-drawn artwork, and produce a polished, cohesive design that's print ready for Amazon KDP. This is the perfect starting point if you're new to self-publishing or looking to expand your product line. So let's dive in. First of all, what exactly is the Publisher Vault and why is it such a game changer? I've made a video before on the Publisher Vault, and I'm going to link to that below this video. But the Publisher Vault is a membership platform providing access to a huge collection of unique hand-drawn illustrations, both in black and white and in color. This is a big advantage over using AI tools where you might struggle to get consistent images that match your vision or worry about the legal gray areas around image ownership. With the Publisher Vault, all the designs are created by professional artists and come with a license that allows you to use them in your KDP books. There's no guesswork, just a seamless library of ready-to-use illustrations. Plus, having both black and white line art and full color versions means you can match your interior artwork to your cover, so everything feels intentional and cohesive. In short, it's a massive time saver. Instead of searching the web, worrying about copyright, or trying to replicate the same style with multiple AI prompts, you can have a one-stop shop for your illustrations. This lets you focus on creativity, mixing and matching characters, building scenes, and adding personal touches that set your coloring book apart. Alright, now that we know why Publisher Vault is the ideal resource, let's get into planning your book specifications and setting up your interior in Canva. So now we understand what illustrations we'll be using and we have a clear theme in mind. It's time to get practical and set up the blueprint for our book. This means figuring out our page dimensions, margins, and bleed settings. All those technical details that ensure your book prints perfectly through KDP. So first of all, let's decide on the trim side. For coloring books, an 8.5 by 11 inch format is popular because it's large enough for kids and adults to comfortably color in. And if you're aiming for a more portable or square format, that's fine. But today for this video, we'll go with the classic 8.5 by 11 since it's straightforward and familiar. So KDP requires us to consider bleed. And that means whether your images run right to the edge of the paper or not. You can see that in the images here on the KDP page. If your images run over to the edge of the paper, then you have to select bleed. But if you keep everything inside the margins of the book, then you don't have to select bleed. And it really is up to you. If you want to create your images so that they go straight over to the border of your book, to the edge of your book, then select bleed. But if you want to create images within a margin, then select no bleed. And I think for this book we're going to go with no bleed because it's just easier. You don't have to adjust the page size. With bleed, the size for an 8.5 by 11 book would be slightly larger to accommodate the trimming. So that means when the printers print your books, they cut off the edges, and if you select bleed, then your book has to be a little bit bigger to allow for the printers cutting off your page. But if you don't select bleed and everything is inside the page, well within the margins of the page, then you can just create the book 8.5 by 11. If you selected bleed, you'd have to allow a little bit more, which means that you would have to create the book 8.625 by 11.25. That includes the bleed area, but we're going to go with no bleed to just keep it simple. Next, we're going to have to think about how many pages you want, and coloring books often range from about 30 to 100 pages, but keep in mind that KDP counts each sheet of paper as 2 pages, front and back. If you're placing illustrations on every right-hand page and leaving the left side blank to prevent bleed through from marker pens, 60 pages is a nice starting point, and that would mean 30 illustrated pages plus 30 blank backs. For this demonstration, I'll go with a 60-page total. So now let's jump into Canva to set up our interior document. So we're in Canva, which is a great design tool, but you could also use PowerPoint or any other design tool that you want to use to create your book. I just find Canva very user-friendly. I used to create my books in PowerPoint, but for the purpose of this video, let's just go with Canva. And we're going to set up our size first. And you can do this in the free version of Canva. So we go up here to create a design and we click on that. And then the first thing you want to do is you want to set this button here to inches, because if we leave it at pixels and then we type in the sizes here, it will mess up the numbers, and that's why we want to click on inches before we even put anything in here. And now we want to select the size which we've decided on is 8.5 by 11. Click on Create New Design, and this is your canvas. This is where you're going to create your coloring book on. So the next step would be to establish our margins, and you can select your margins here, but I quite like to use the margins that Canva provide. And if you don't see these little faint lines here, that's because you've probably got it switched off. I'll show you quickly how to do that. You go onto File on the left hand side and you click onto Settings, and you can show the rulers and guides. You can use guides, and this is where I've got Show Margins selected. So if you unclick that, you can see the margins have disappeared, but I quite like to keep the margins, so I'm going to Show Margins, and here we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create everything in my book within these margins. So I'm not going to go to the edge of the paper, and this is why we selected no bleed. And this will not print, so don't be afraid to keep it there while you are designing your page. This won't be printed in your book. So this is just to help us while we're designing our coloring book. So now I want to show you how we're going to upload those lovely hand-drawn images onto Canva, the images that we are going to get from the Publisher Vault, but you could also get your images elsewhere. If you wanted to have your images designed by a designer, you can always go on Fiverr or on Upwork, but it is quite costly, and that is why I find that the Publisher Vault is such tremendous value. And I'll show you quickly how you can upload those images onto Canva. So I have put all my Publisher Vault images in a file on my computer, and to do that you go onto the Publisher Vault and you choose the packs that you want to download. I have chosen the teddy bear pack for this video and for my book that I want to create. And all you have to do is select the pack that you want and click download. That will download the whole pack onto your computer. And then what you can do is they come in a zip file, and then you can unzip them into a file that you can set up on your computer. I've done that, and I created a teddy bear coloring file. I'll quickly show you. So I've downloaded the Candyland pack, the Cute Animals pack, the Festive Friends, the Fluffy Friends pack, the Teddy Bear Sports pack, which you can see here, the Teddy Bear Sports pack, and the Teddy Bear Wedding pack, and just the Teddy Bear pack as well. So I've got them all in my folder on my computer, and I'll quickly show you what they look like. If I go on teddy bears, what I've done is I've divided them into the black and white backgrounds, into the black and white characters, the color background, and the color characters, and that's all we need. I know that sometimes there are some more things in the pack. The pack also provides you with ready-made entire pages, so they will provide you with black and white interior pages and also the colored cover pages. But I rather make my own, because if you use the ready-made ones, you're running the danger that somebody else will also use them, and then you've got the exact same book as somebody else on Amazon, and you really want to avoid that. And that is why I want to show you in this video how you can make a completely unique coloring book, even though you're using the same packs that other people have. But because they're so customizable and you can combine them, it's very, very difficult for somebody else to have the same, to produce the same coloring book as you. I think, in fact, it would be impossible to do that. But first of all, we have to upload these images into Canva, and for that you go on to Canva. I'll show you quickly. We've got all our images in our file on our computer, so we go back to Canva, and then you click on Uploads here, and as you can see, I've already uploaded all of my files here, but I just want to show you how you can do that. For that, you just go onto Upload Files, and it opens up the last folder that you had open, which in my case was the Candyland black and white background. So you just go on to whichever pack you want to upload, whichever image you want to upload. So say I wanted to upload the Fluffy Friends pack, and I go into the black and white images. So I just select whichever one I want, for example this little guy here, and then I click Open, and it uploads it onto Canva. But you could also be a lot quicker than that. You can click on Upload Files and then select one of the folders, and if you wanted to upload all of them, you just highlight all of them and then click Open. I won't do that because I've already got them somewhere here, so I don't want to duplicate that. But that's how you would upload all your images onto Canva. So it couldn't be easier, and then you've got all the images you want to work with on your left hand side here, and now it's time to create our book. So before we start to build our book, I just wanted to talk a little bit about research, because in this video I'm going to show you how to create the coloring book, and I'm not going to go too deeply into the research, but of course before you create your book, please research your coloring book thoroughly. Decide what kind of niche you want to hit with your coloring book. I have decided that I'm going to create a teddy bear coloring book for relaxation. So before we start creating the actual coloring pages, we are going to create the front matter of the book, which is the cover page and the copyright page and any testing pages that we want to create for our coloring book. The cover page is just a copy of the cover kind of thing. It's just the first page that you see when you open the book. Some people have a "This book belongs to" page. First of all, I like to have a cover page, and I like to have my copyright page on that as well. So let's just start designing the cover page first. And the cover page has got the title of the book on it as well. So I think I'm going to call my book Teddy Time Cozy Scenes for Relaxed Coloring. And I'm going to have that on the first page, and I'm going to include my copyright. So let's get started. And for that, we want to choose a nice font. So I'm going to click on text here and add a heading. And I want to choose a nice font for this, but let's type in the title of the book first. I'm going to choose a nice font that I can color in as well. So I want something a bit bold, and I like this Childling one, but I know there's also one that I quite like, which is here it is, Lolita one. I use this quite often. So I want to create a title that people can color in. So I'm going to click on Effects and click on Outline here on the left hand side. So that will create an outline to the text. I want the text to be white because I want the outline to be black. So I'm going to select white for the text, and then I'm going to go onto Effects again, and where it says color, this is the line color, instead of this gray I'm going to choose black. So now we can have a nice black outline for our text. And I think I'm also going to maybe curve it, but I don't want it to be that curved, so I'm going to choose this much curve. I'll put that up here. And now we need to do the subtitle. So we go to our text box again, click on subheading, and we type our subtitle. So I've called it Cozy Scenes for Relaxed Colouring, and then I want to just say what the book is all about as well. You can create a text for your book. It's like a little summary of what the book is about. And I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. That's just a text that we want to add so people know what this book is about. And then under here I want to write my copyright, and I've got something that I always use, which I can copy paste. So this is my standard copyright that I use for my books, and I'll just increase that so you can read it. It just says, actually I will just move that to the left, just 1 second. Just make sure everything is aligned within the margins here. We don't want to go over because we didn't select bleed, and we don't want anything to get cut off. So, and I'm also going to choose a different font for this, something a bit more serious. And we're just going to use a Canva Sans. This is more appropriate for the copyright. So it's copyright 2024. It's going to be 2025 soon. I can't believe how quickly it's gone. And then we want to put our pen name here, and I'm going to publish this under my real name. Then we've got all rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form or by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electronic or mechanical methods without the prior written permission of the publisher, except in the case of a brief quotation embodied in critical reviews and certain other non-commercial uses permitted by copyright law. So that you can decide what you want to write exactly. That is completely up to you. So published by, and I'm going to use my publishing name, which is Homeboss Media. This is the imprint that I use for my ISBN. Actually, I'm going to use the free ISBN from Amazon. So because I'm not using my own ISBN and I'm not publishing under my own publisher name, I'm going to just delete this. But if you are creating your book and you're using your own ISBN, you would just put your imprint there, and this we can delete as well because I'm just using the free one from Amazon, and we don't need any of this because Amazon will add that themselves. So we just need the copyright text, which you can just have a look at other books and see what they do. I've got one that I use for most of my books, so I just tend to use that, but it's completely up to you. And that is my first page for our book. So that looks all right. So we can go on to the next page. And when you open your book, this is the page that you see on the right. You will see the inside of the cover on the left-hand side, and this will be the first page that you see when you open a book. You can have a look and see what that looks like. And then the next page will be the back of this page. I tend to write something about the book or instructions on how to use it. So we can write something. I'm going to just write what I would normally use, and you can have a look in competitors' coloring books and see what they do. I'm just going to write a text that I think is appropriate for this particular book. So let me just go ahead and do that. So I've prepared something that I want to write on this page, and I'm just going to lay out my text, and this will be smaller, the font. I've prepared something which I'm just going to copy and paste. So just choose whichever text you think is appropriate for your own book. This is what I have written in mine, and I'm just going to put a little character down here to make it look a bit friendlier. And for that, I just go and take one of the characters from the Publisher Vault. And this is where it's your whole creative ideas that come into play. So I'm just looking for a little teddy bear. As the book is about teddies, I'm just looking for something that's appropriate to place underneath the text. And I think I'm going to go for this little guy. I'll make sure that everything is within the margins, so nothing is poking out. And that is the second page. This is the one when you open the book, it's on the right hand side. This is the back page of that one on the left hand side. And now we can create either a test color page or this book belongs to. Let's create a this book belongs to page, because that's something that people quite like. So again, we choose our text. Going to center it, and now what we want to do is we want to create a line for people to write their name on. So for that we go on to elements, and we just choose one of these lines, and we can make them longer, and you can create whatever you want to create. You can have 2 lines if you prefer that. Do that as well if a child might want to place the name between the 2 lines. And now the other thing that we want to do is just put another little character in there, and maybe we want to give him a little friend and put another character in there. So this is the good thing about the Publisher Vault. You can combine different images from different packs. So I'm not using the exact same pack for the whole book. I'm actually combining 3 packs as I showed you, and that works very well. So that way nobody will have the same book as you, because it's very unlikely that anybody would use the same combinations. So that's our This Book Belongs to page. And the next page we want to create is a testing page, because people like to test their markers and their pens before they start coloring, especially the people that use alcohol-based markers. And some books do that by creating little squares and they place them all over the page. We could create little circles and place them over the page. And some people use little characters or little designs and place them all over the page. So the only thing is you have to be careful where the page is. So we said this is on the right hand side as you open the book. This one is at the back of that page, and then this one is again on the right hand side. Anywhere where people have to write or draw or color should be on the right hand side. It should be a right hand side page. So this is fine. And then if we put the test page here, that would be on the left side, and it's a little bit more difficult to color or write in the book on the left hand side. So I can either leave this blank or we can use this for something else, and then we do the test page on the right hand side here. So let me do the test page first, and then I'll think about what we can do on the other one. So again, I'm putting a text box in. We're going to call this color test page, and I'm going to use the same font as we have on the cover, and I'm going to give it the same effect with the outline so that people can color it in. So I create a white text, but then the outline is black, and I'm going to make that bigger. So this is our color test page, and we can just make it very simple, and we go on to elements in Canva, and we can either use these little squares or we can use a circle. So I found a circle here, and I'm just going to make it smaller. So I'm just going to create a row of circles. So I'm going to duplicate this and place it on the side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would be nice if we had 6 in one row, but 5 will do as well. So what I can do is I can outline all of them, go to position, and then click on tidy up, and that will place them all in the same, within the same distance. And now I can select them all again and duplicate and put them underneath, then do it again and again and again and again. And now we have, they've moved a little bit, so so if they're not aligned very well, let's just highlight them all, and then we click on position. We're already there, and we're going to click on tidy up, and that should hopefully, they're just a little bit, let me just fix this. So I'm just going to bring them in to bring them within the margins. I want everything, I don't want anything to be outside the margins of this. And I could actually add another row. So we're just putting that there. So now we've got our color test page where people can use these circles to test their pens or their markers. And I think every coloring book should have one of those. So now I have aligned all the circles for people to test their pencils or their markers. And I'm going to leave the next page blank because that will be the back of this page, and as people are using their markers, they will bleed through to the next page. So we want to leave that blank so that it doesn't affect the design of the next page. And we want to create our design on the following page so that it's a clean page. And now we can start with our coloring pages. So we're going to leave a blank page after each coloring page. And to create our coloring page, we just go back onto Uploads. And now you just choose a background from the packs that you have uploaded onto Canva. So for you that might be different. I'm using the teddy bear packs, and I'm using different ones so that I can create different pages by combining them. If you're using only one pack and you're combining the images, that is fine. But of course, if you're using more than one pack, you are creating very unique coloring books because nobody would think of creating the same one. So we're going to just use one of these backgrounds. I've chosen this one here, and you can align it to fit the margins. And the other thing we can do is we can actually create a border here, and I think it's advisable to do that when you're doing a no bleed coloring page. A bleed coloring page would look like this. So you would put this all the way to the edges, and then you would have to publish your book with bleed, because it goes all the way to the edges and you have to allow a larger size so that the printers can cut this off and you're not losing anything. And we're doing no bleed, so we want to keep inside the margins, and because we're doing that, it's advisable to have a frame around this. So to do that, we are going to select some lines and we go onto Elements, and you choose one of the lines here, and you can now place this line here, and then you can copy that and do the top line and copy that again. And now we want to turn it to do the sides, and copy that again. And you can increase the size of this just to make sure that you've got all the corners correctly aligned. And now what you can do, we know we want to create 30 coloring pages like this, so we can just duplicate this and that will make it easier for you. So let's just get rid of the design, and we're going to duplicate this 30 times so that you can place your design inside this frame. And remember that we're leaving a blank page between them. So to do that, we click on Add Page. This is our blank page. And then we want to duplicate this one. So we click on Duplicate Page. But of course, we want to leave the blank page in between. We can either move this page down by using this Move Down arrow. So now you can see you've got the page with the frame, the blank page, and the page with a frame. So what I'm going to do is I think I'll create 30 of these pages and then just add a page. So let's just create 30 of these. So we click on Duplicate Page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll carry on and speed up the video. And then what I do is I add a blank page after each one. So here's one with a frame, then I go to Add Page, that's my blank page, another frame, and then I click Add Page, another frame, and I click Add Page, blank page, frame page, so click Add Page, and I continue doing this until they're all done. So once you're done, you can quickly check on the grid view in the bottom right hand corner, and we click that so we can just check to see that we've done it correctly. We've got our first page here, then a blank page, our next design page, blank page, design page, blank page, and so on. So I'm quickly checking all of this. It seems fine. So now we can create our design inside this frame. So now we can create our coloring images, and we just need to use a background first. And let me just try one of these, for example. So now, because we have this frame, we are going to try and match this background to the frames. What you can't do is you can't leave this just in the middle of the frame, and you can see that these lines are not connecting to the edges, and it's very difficult for people to color in a page like that. So you really want all lines connecting, so they have to be connected to your frame. And unfortunately, as you can see, this doesn't quite fit the frame, so it's kind of too short. And the easiest way to fix that is to create another line here, and then what we could do is we could just place a word here that people can color in as well. And as we're creating a cozy book for relaxation, I have thought of 30 words that reflect a cozy scene, and I'm going to use one word for each page. So I'm going to add it to the bottom of this page to kind of make this fit the page better. I'll show you in a minute how that would work. The other thing you could do is you could just move this line up and make these lines shorter, and that would also resolve the problem. So maybe we'll do that and write the word underneath. And now we've got our background. We want to add some characters. So this is kind of like a kitchen scene. And let me find some characters that would fit this. It definitely wouldn't look right to put these sporty teddy bears in there. So I'm going to see if I can find something different. I think he looks quite nice. So let's try him. I'm going to make him a little bit smaller. And he's going to stand in this kitchen. Maybe he's thinking of baking a cake. I can make him a bit bigger. And actually, this looks quite nice. You could also add Canva elements to this, but I'm a little bit careful with Canva because if you notice, if you go on Canva elements, the ones that have a little crown, they are pro elements and you can't use them on the free version of Canva. You can use them on the pro version, but because Canva's licensing is not clear to me, I'm actually not very clear on how I can use these images. It used to be that you could use them as long as you combine them all, but I think it's getting slightly complicated the way they've structured their licenses. And if I am going to use any, I would only use the free ones. So I wouldn't use the ones that have this little crown. So I'm not going to use any elements from Canva because I'm just unsure about their license now. But Canva is a perfect tool to create your book with. And you can always use the free elements if you can find them. But because we haven't got all the time for this video, I'm just going to create this book with the Publisher Vault images. And I think I quite like this first image. So we're going on to the next one. And I'm going to use another background. This one's quite nice. And again, as you can see, it doesn't meet the bottom of the frame. And it would be very difficult to color this in because people wouldn't know where the edges are and what they have to color and what they don't have to color. So we're going to make this fit the background. And then I'm going to add a character or two. I quite like this little bear. And she's playing with her hula hoop. And I'm going to add another one. She's got a little friend watching. So I'm going to put her here. So this is how you combine different characters with different backgrounds. And like I said, if you use different packs, there's even less of a chance that someone will create the same page as you. The other thing that you can do to make these different is you can flip them. So you could flip this one to look the other way. So again, that would make it different to somebody else's. And there's all sorts of different things you can do. You can maybe add a little bow on their hair. So I'm going to try elements again. So you could add a little bow in her hair, and I can't find a free one at the moment, but I just want to demonstrate how this works in theory. So say you find a bow like this, and of course you would use a free one. You could then place it on her hair like this, and that would make your character completely different as well. But I recommend that you use the free elements on Canva and not the paid ones. But you can see how this creates a different image altogether. And you can probably find these little elements in the Publishing Vault as well. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to try one more thing, and I've typed in Smiley Sun to color in to Canva, and I found this one, which is actually a free one. You can always check if it's free by clicking on the three dots here, and it tells you it's free, so you can use this one. So I can put that here in the sky. This creates a different coloring page again. So I'm quite happy with this page as it is. So now what you would do is you would repeat that 30 times. So you would have 30 of these pages with a blank page in between, and you can just combine all the backgrounds with the different characters, and you can flip them to make them look different. You can add little free elements from Canva or from somewhere else if you've got them. You can buy these things on Creative Fabrica as well. So you just build your book slowly doing that. And I did want to add some words underneath here that people can color in. So I made a list of 30 words that reflect relaxation and coziness, and you can ask ChatGPT to help you with things like that. It makes it a lot quicker. So now what I would do is I would go on the text and click on a heading, and I would type in the word that I want to display, and in this case I'm going to call this cozy, and I'm going to use a nice bold font. I'm going to use the Lilita one, which I quite like. I'm going to make this bigger, and I'm also going to go on effects, and I'm going to choose outline. I'm going to make the color of the text white, and then I want to make, I'll go back onto effects, and then I want to make the outline black. And what you can do now is you can make the thickness wider or thinner, depending on how you want this. I want the thickness to be similar to the lines in the design. So I think I'm going to stick to 15 thickness. It's good to remember this figure so you can make all the words in your book the same thickness. And then all I have to do is drag this down. And you can make it so that it's slightly out of the frame, as long as it doesn't go over this margin too much. I think this will be okay. I know it's going over a little bit here, but that's going to be absolutely fine. So there's our first page, and we want to do the same with the next one. What you could actually do to make your life easier is you can duplicate this and then just drag it to the page where you want to create your next word. And you can place that there and then just type in a different word. So we want to use bliss for this one. So we've got another page done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create all the rest of the pages, and you can do the same just by placing a background on the page and then placing all your different characters to create a new scene. And when I've finished doing my book, I'm coming back and I'm going to show you. Before I show you the whole of the book, I just wanted to show you another little trick that we can do. So I've downloaded some of these little animals, and they're not all teddy bears, but my book is all about teddy bears. So what I can do is I can use one of these images, and of course this is a rabbit. We don't want a rabbit in our book. So what I can do is I can just cut this one out, and I've got another little teddy bear here. So we can use different packs from the publisher vault and just use the bits that we need. So I'm just going to make this bigger and make sure that I haven't included any of the other image. So here we go. Now we've got one little teddy bear. So now I'm looking at the other images and I'm seeing if I can find another teddy bear in any of these images. Here's another one. So I'm going to click on that, and I want to get rid of this reindeer and just use the little teddy. So I can do that just by sliding him off. And of course I want to put this teddy behind this plant. Let me see if I can do this. I think this looks okay. So we've now used two different characters from another pack, and that's the other thing that you can do. You can use part of an image and create a completely different scene that way. So I'm going to create the next pages, and once I've done all that, I'll come back to explain more. So this is my finished coloring book, my finished teddy coloring book, and I showed you how to do the first few pages, and I have then created the other pages to make a total of 30 coloring pages in this book. So I'm just showing you all of the pages, and I've written a word that goes with the theme underneath each page. And the other thing I wanted to show you is I've done a final page. This is something that you can do for your coloring books as well. I'll show you what I've written. So it says, "Thank you for coloring with us. We hope Teddy Time, cozy scenes for relaxed coloring, brought you moments of joy, peace, and creativity. Whether you completed every page or simply enjoyed a quiet moment, you've created something beautiful. Remember, coloring is more than just an activity. It's a way to express yourself, unwind, and reconnect with simple joys. Your unique touch has brought these cozy teddy bears to life." I just think that is a good way to finish the book, just to say something more about your book. You can use ChatGPT to help you write these things. It's quite useful for doing things like that. And the other thing I also added is this little bit here. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this book, please consider leaving a review. Your feedback helps us create more relaxing and joyful experiences for colorists like you. So that's just asking people for reviews. It's always a good idea to include that. What you can't do is you can't ask them to leave a positive review. So you can ask them to leave an honest review, or just, you know, if they've enjoyed this book, consider leaving a review. That's fine to say. And I think that's a really good idea to have that at the end of your books. And then I finished it with "Stay cozy, stay creative, and keep coloring with love and warmth." And then you can either have your pen name or your brand name here. So I will, once I publish this, I will put my own name under this. But if I was publishing this under one of my coloring book brands, then I would use the brand name. And also, if I was publishing it for my brand, where I have a social media page, I would say, "We'd love to see your colored creations. Share your pages with us at," and then your social media handle or your email. So that is a really good way to create a community of colorists. And once people start following you, they're more than happy to do this. So this is important if you have a brand. If you're just publishing a few coloring books here and there, then it doesn't really matter so much. But if you are creating a coloring book brand, these are the type of things that you want to include in your books to really make the most of it and to take advantage of your branding. So this is my finished coloring book. If I had to do this properly, don't forget I've done this quickly because of the video. I would normally take much longer to create a coloring book. This has taken me maybe an hour to do, probably less than that. And I would definitely say that is too short a time to create a proper coloring book. I tell you some of the things that I would improve if I had more time. First of all, if you have a look at this page here, you can see that the little teddy bears stand out more, and that is because the line thickness of the teddy bears is a little bit thicker than that of the background. And that is something that I try to avoid. Let me just click on this so you can see it. I try to keep the line thickness as even as possible and as consistent as possible. So I'm not happy with this page, and I'm only uploading this because I'm creating this book for the video. If this was a book for my coloring brand, I would not leave this page as it is. I would create something different. But the purpose of this video was to show you how you would create a coloring book, how you can use the publisher vault, and I would go back to this book and just change these little characters. I might still do that before I upload it, but I wanted you to see how I would create a book. And I'll just go through this again and check that I haven't repeated any of the words, because that can happen quite easily. And other than that, I think I'm quite happy. But like I said, I would make sure that the line thickness is as consistent and even as possible. But I'm quite happy with this. So before I wrap up, let's quickly recap what we've done today. We've started by looking at why the Publisher's Vault is such a great resource, offering hand-drawn illustrations that make it easy to create beautiful original coloring pages without relying on AI. And next, we looked into planning our book specifications, deciding on our trim size, the page count. I explained about bleed and no bleed, and we created the margins to ensure everything meets Amazon KDP standards. And after that, we jumped into Canva and set up our interior pages. We then selected and combined illustrations from the Publisher Vault to create unique, cohesive pages for our coloring book, making sure to leave the back of each page blank to prevent bleed through from markers or pens. And at this point, I think we've laid a solid foundation for our coloring book's interior. You've got a clear idea of how to organize your pages, assemble your illustrations into creative scenes, and maintain a consistent look and feel throughout. So because this video is already packed with valuable information and it's getting a bit long, I'll be splitting the next steps into separate videos. So in the next video, I'll tackle designing the cover. I'll show you how to use the Publisher's Vault colored illustrations to create an eye-catching cover that perfectly complements the interior we've just finished. And after that, I'll also create a step-by-step tutorial on how to upload your manuscript to Amazon KDP, so you can get your coloring book listed and ready for sale. And we haven't done a lot about research, and research is a huge part of succeeding in the coloring book market. So I'm going to dedicate another video to showing you how to identify profitable niches, keywords, and categories, ensuring your book can actually be found by eager buyers. And at the end of the day, the most important thing is to sell your books, and that is why research is really important. So if you found this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss these upcoming videos. And if you have any questions or want to share your own tips and experiences, drop a comment below. I always love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching and following along today. You're now well on your way to creating a professional, marketable coloring book interior. Stay tuned for the cover design video, and I'll see you there.